Hey there, welcome to Real Talk Baseball. I'm your host, Ernie Orange. We got Jay Dizzle in the house today, representing Wednesday, that humpback day we got going on today. Now, a lot of games already underway, but we're excited to get the show going on. A lot of baseball going on. First off, Jamal, how you doing out there, man?
I'm doing great. Yankees won. Gave me a little bit of a scare in the ninth inning, but they got the job done.
Nice. Yeah, it was a pretty dominant performance by this Yankee team, and they're showing why they're one of the heavily favorites of the AL East right now. But we got a lot of topics to cover today. First off, we're going to be talking about covering all the hottest rivalries in baseball, which you already mentioned, the Yankees versus the Red Sox. We got the Dodgers Giants underway right now on the game 2 of the series. We're going to talk about Edwin Diaz and that injury he's dealing with. Craig Counsell has some things to talk about the Dodgers. We have the Mets or Phillies. What is going on in the East Coast? The NL East is falling apart. And then our final segment of the day will be Prospect Wednesday. Jamal will be breaking down the hottest prospects in the game and guys that you should be looking out for, possibly for fantasy purposes or maybe for your own team that may have a guy that's coming up is going to be great. Jamal, let's get this show going. What's
All
the
right, let's
MLB
do it.
best rivalry right now? Is the Yankees Red Sox really that rivalry that people talk about in the historical ways that it's one of the greatest? Do you still see that same energy?
No, I don't. And the reason why I say that is, you had a nice little competitive game going tonight. Of course, it looked like the Yankees were going to run away with it. Max Fried pitching an absolute gem, but it just doesn't seem like there's that spark. There's I mentioned it before, but like the Pedro Martinez of the world, where they would just poke at the fans, or a little something to spark the rivalry. And we'll go into something a little later on the show here that may spark a new rivalry in the NL. But it just seems a bit too friendly now. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's got that same aura as the Red Sox Yankees used to have.
Yeah, definitely, man. I think that's just a simple fact that these players have way too much respect for one another now. If they don't really care what uniform you're wearing, they still respect the talent and they're still supportive of one another. And, that rivalry tension is no longer there. And I'm not sure if this is just the Red Sox that have been struggling. They also have a really young core, and maybe they don't still see that rivalry like it's supposed to be. It's like you got a Yankee team that's way too experienced with Paul Goldschmidt, Judge, Stanton. And then you got a Red Sox team that's riding on young kids like Connolly Early. You got the Roman Anthony, Jaron Duran. Maybe they don't, take it that personal. They just want to play ball and focus on their stats. So, man, overall, I'm not sure what's going on with this Red Sox team right now. I think that's also another problem. They have not really been competitive. They've been spending money, but at the same time, it feels like they're not developing their players the way we would have wanted to. You got Christian Campbell for not becoming that player they expected. Jaron Duran has now fallen off the map. We do not see what's going on with this guy. This over the weekend, you mentioned to me, he's just been out of the lineup all weekend. That's
Yeah.
a huge concern. That's a red flag for me. I'm not sure what's going on with this Red Sox fan. And then we got Roman Anthony out of the lineup today with some lower back tightness. And everybody knows that back problem could linger on all season long. And it's time for concern for this Red Sox team because you got Alex Cora, a great manager who has proven to be a winner in this game. But somehow this Red Sox team has not performed the way that he's wanted or the upper management. So, man, I don't know. I feel like that tension has lost itself because we don't see that Yankee Red Sox going to at it for that division anymore. Am I right?
Yeah, it almost has you almost get the feel now that the AL East rivalry has shifted more so to the Yankees Blue Jays. It's
Yes.
it's kind of it's shifted to that level there. Vlad Guerrero hates the Yankees. He doesn't want anything to do with them. So you got that storyline going. He signs the big extension with the Blue Jays. They make it where the Yankees want to make it, to the big show, to the World Series, to face the Dodgers. So there's something brewing there. Just to go back to Duran real quick, he actually bounced back a little bit today. Had 2 doubles in that game. I
Good.
believe 3 for 4. So you're hoping that he's starting to pick it up, starting to warm up here. I believe he's still batting below 200, if I'm not mistaken, coming into today. So hopefully that picks him up.
Yeah, you're totally right. I mean, he's still hitting a buck 180. Not good enough in my eyes. I know it's still April, But this Red Sox team has to find an answer quickly because they're going to fall behind this division faster than people could expect. You got a Tampa Bay Rays team that is playing great ball out there. They're playing with small ball, great pitching, and a beast of Junior Caminero just hitting bombs every single day. So that team is dangerous for me. Now you got the Blue Jays, who's a bit banged up, and they continue to struggle as well. But this Red Sox team just doesn't seem to have it. It feels like they're expecting so much from these young kids, and they're just not delivering. Now, on the other hand, this Yankee team right now, for the past couple seasons, man, they've just been a dominant force in the AL East. They have one of the strongest rotations in baseball, and they continue to perform like at a level we've never seen. Max Fried right now is showing why he's at top 8 and deserved that top contract. He was dominant, 8 innings strong. And then guys like Ahmed Rosario, who would have been a bench player, but seems like he was a one-man show today, and he delivered for the Yankees. So we got guys that for the Yankees that are not even supposed to be good players, but they're doing their job as role players. You got the Caballeros. You got, Rosario today, Belly sometimes. And sometimes Goldschmidt shows up, or some days other guys show up. But I feel like they're getting help from all their lineup right now. So that's a huge help for Judge, who was once thought it was like the only guy delivering for the Yankees, but now it seems like it's all around from the whole team. So I just want to give a shout out to our listeners there. Melanie, she says, no gloating. We got Cotton Candy Sky saying, hello, fellas. Well, we just want to thank you guys for tuning in and stopping by on a Wednesday night. We truly appreciate it. If you guys are listening out there, make sure to hit that like and subscribe. This is Jay Dissel, one of our newest members of the Real Talk Baseball channel. He's been putting up some great shorts out there for us, giving the latest, hottest topics out there, so you guys are all aware. But Jamal, man, are this Red Sox team a big concern for you? Are you worried that they may not even make the playoffs? I know it's too early, but it's April, and there's already a lot of red flags on this team.
Yeah, my better half, she's watching the show right now, so I can't beat up on the Red Sox too bad here. But, in all seriousness, there was a bright spot for them. Ranger Suarez, I don't think he didn't even go 5 innings today. But Eduardo Rivera, the rookie coming in, didn't even allow a run. He kind of held that Red Sox team, kind of held them together there. They didn't allow any more runs on the board. So you got somebody like that, that can see how he builds from here on out. But, yes, I totally agree, Carlos. Red Sox do need some help, though.
They surely do. I mean, and earlier this week on Patriots Day on Monday, you saw Sonny Gray coming out of the game with another injury, a guy that's still with a lot of injuries in his career. Now you're depending on Garrett Crochet, a guy that's has a couple bad outings, and it was pretty bad. So that was another concern for me. So yes, Carlos, you are right. The Red Sox definitely do need help. And thanks for the update. He is saying that the Mets have finally won. They have finally snapped that 12 games losing streak. It was terrible, man. It felt like every game they were fighting to try to sneak a win, and they just couldn't buy one, man. It was really tough to see. But I'm happy the Mets finally got a win. Now at least they're 8 games behind first place. Maybe they have a chance. Who knows? It's still way too early. But let's move on to the next topic, man. We have the Dodgers-Giants. It was one of the greatest crosstown rivals from the past back in New York. The mighty Dodgers against once Giants, who dominated the game a decade ago, maybe. But, man, what do you think about this rivalry? Is this still one of the hottest rivalries in baseball right now?
Yeah, I mean, well, there's more fuel added to the fire. I don't know if you got a chance to see the interaction there with Dalton Rushing, and looked like Jung-Hoo Lee made a horrible attempt, I might add, to try to get home. But he looked like he was hurt on the play, and then you could kind of see Russian mouth, F him, forget about him. So it kind of turned some heads there. So this might be a new wrinkle to this historic rivalry here.
Yeah, you're totally right. I mean, it didn't look right on me, to be honest. The first impression I see of Dalton Rushing over the weekend, first off, he starts out with the Rockies saying that they could possibly be cheating. There's no way the Rockies were hitting that great. And now he throws an F-bomb in the middle of the game. What is going on, man? This is a rookie kid. He's only had 27 at-bats in the league, this season, and he already has 7 home runs. Is this guy possibly a little too cocky for me? I'm not sure, man. I'm a little concerned there. It's a personality that, this game will humble you real quick, man. So you got to slow it down a little bit. I know there is tensions in that rivalry. He probably grew up watching it, and he probably wants to bring it back. But this rivalry is on its way back. And it just starts with Buster Posey taking the helm under the Giants organization.
Yes.
Him making the calls and making the moves. He knows how much he wants to beat this Dodgers team. He was one of the key pieces of that dynasty that won 2010, 2012, and 14. He knows what it takes to beat this Dodgers team. Obviously, this Dodgers team is spending way more money, but obviously they're not doing so well right now. It's still early into the season. Rafael Devers is having off to a slow start. Their pitchers are finally acclimating to the season. But I feel like this Giant team is going to be competitive down the road. They have a great future, man. They continue to bring great pieces from the minors. Bryce Elrich is on his way up. You know, you got Robbie Ray being nice as a lefty. Tyler Mahle will find his way back. Logan Webb's off to a rough start, but I think he will bounce back just like he always does, like a true ace he is. And the bats will finally get hot. Right now, it's been a little cold out there in the West Coast in San Fran, and I feel like Willie Adames is only going to heat up in Rafael Devers. That's what they always do, man. So this rivalry is going to get better for sure. And if the Giants win today, Dodger fans will be watching, and they'll start feeling concerned. I'll tell you that. I know Shohei Ohtani is on the mound today. And I'll give you this. I mean, Shohei Ohtani's been one of the dominant pitchers of this season, dominating the NL. But I'm kind of curious to see how he does against this Giants team, because the Giants are not going to give him an easy – they're going to give him a hard fight, man. They're going to try to beat Shohei Ohtani and try to take his on-base streak as well. So I'll give you that.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, the Yamamoto has been pitching lights out as well up until last night. So, and to his credit, recovered very nicely after kind of a difficult start there.
He always does. It's crazy to me how he recovers. He always has 1 or 2 bad innings, and then he just finds ways to strike out guys for the rest of the game. I don't know how that works. Maybe he's just off to a slow start, but man, go for it. I'm sorry, cutting you off, but Yamamoto, he's a killer.
He's just, he is something else out there. And then, you know, some of the stuff, you know, wasn't really entirely his fault. You had the little bit of the miscue there in the outfield with Call and Hernandez. You know, kind of got a sac fly there, so that was an odd play to score in a run. But and I recall listening to the broadcast, they were talking about Willie Adames and how he was putting so much pressure on himself after he had signed that big contract a season ago. You know, really didn't put up the type of numbers that you would want somebody signing that massive deal to put up. And, you know, he admitted, you know, he put way too much pressure on himself, and he seems a little more at ease heading into this season. If he's playing at a high rate, this Giants team definitely has a chance, and it definitely has a chance to kind of spark the rivalry again.
Yeah, you bring up a great point of Willie Adames last year. He signed a big contract, struggled off the gates, but still finished the season with 30 home runs. And it's like, wow, had he had a great season all around, he would have gotten over 40 home runs. So, I mean, he still had a pretty decent season. But you're right, man. Tony Vitello finally taking over the helm. You know, he's also a guy that's coming into from a college baseball team to finally to the majors. We really never see that transition. I feel like he's been kind of a little bit nervous, making some moves here and there. It's part of the growing process. The team's only going to get better. I feel like the Giants will just be just fine, and they'll be probably competing for a wild card spot down the road. But for now, we're already 1 inning into the game, and Shohei Ohtani's already given up 2 hits. Yeah, he got away with not allowing a run, but this is what I mean. This Giant team is sneaky. They don't care who's on the mound. They play at another level when they play against Dodgers, and especially at home. You know, they don't like to be disrespected by all these Dodger fans in Oracle Park. So these Giant fans are going to come out and support as well. But, man, it's still one of the hottest rivalries to me, although the Padres and Dodgers is still one of the newest foreign rivalries.
Yes.
I think the Giants and Dodgers is still one of the most traditional rivalries we could have in this game. And these 2 rivalries would only be better with the Red Sox, Yankees, and Giants, Dodgers if they were both competing for that number 1 spot. That's when the sport's at its greatest. When all those 4 teams are fighting for that first spot. But unfortunately, there's some times where teams are just too dominant over others, and some teams are fighting for last, and some are fighting for first, and that's where we lose that rivalry tension. All right, man. Well, let's go on to one of the Dodgers players who just got announced and overwent surgery, and his name is Edwin Diaz, who signed a big contract over the offseason to join the Dodgers. He's dealing with a right elbow injury. Looks like he's dealing with some loose bodies. That's what they call it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I've never heard that term before. This seemed concerning. Looks like he will be out for 3 months. Are you concerned about this Dodgers team going forward? Because as you guys know, this 2025 Dodger team struggled with the bullpen drastically. They were in need of some arms. And now you go into the season, you sign a big guy like Edwin Diaz to take over that role, and now he's gone 3 months. Yeah, you're still going to need him in the future, but this could linger, and it could be a potential loss for the year. You never know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. You hit the nail on the head. Like right now we're hearing it's loose bodies. We've heard similar instances with some players before where it's like, okay, maybe it's not that big of a deal or an issue right now. And then come to find out later on down the road, it ends up being the end of season type of deal. And hopefully, as a baseball fan, you hope that's not the case with Edwin Diaz, one of the best pitchers, closing pitchers in all of baseball. You want to see him out there. But, the Tanner Scott, did not look great last season in that closer role down the stretch in some key games. I know Alex Vesia has, he's had some good moments. But yeah, they're going to have to try. I'm sure Dave Roberts is going to mix and match and try to find that sweet spot. But it's, until Edwin Diaz comes back, it's not a definitive closer role situation. And the Dodgers, everybody could say, oh, well, they're just going to beat up on everybody. They got this stacked roster. But as we've seen, even against the Rockies here, they've been in some tight ones. So they're going to definitely need that bullpen to get them out of the jams here down the stretch.
Yeah, you're totally right. I think you bring up a good point. I think Dave Roberts is going to go with a bullpen committee. He's going to go with the hottest arm. You got Alex Vesia, Tanner Scott, who you paid a ton of money. I think $84 million for a 4-year deal. This guy better prove himself. I mean, you were already a failure last year. You're getting paid top dollar for a closer to be not even a closer. I'm sorry. You're going to get thrown into the fire, and you got to pitch that 9th inning for me. And then you also have Blake Trinan, who also had a terrible playoff run. His curveball wasn't working, but when it is working, it's unhittable. So those 3 guys are going to have to mix and match there and based on matchups. But you're right. Baseball comes down to the bullpen sometimes. And it doesn't matter how great of an offensive team you have. If the bullpen can't close it out, you're going to blow up a lot of games. And we saw that over the weekend against the Rockies, a team that shouldn't have been winning. But they found ways to win. I mean, you got guys like Mickey Moniak, Johnston playing great and getting timely hitting against a Dodgers bullpen. You would think that shouldn't happen. But if I'm Dave Roberts, I'm going to give the edge right now to Tanner Scott. Just a simple fact that he's been a previous closer for me. He has to prove that. He needs to be proving that he's worth that money. And because, I mean, you already paid him. Might as well give him a shot. Unless he blows a couple saves, then you go back to Vesia. But for now, I think you go Scott, Vesia, and Trinan. And then you got to mix and match depending if they played a lot of days or not. But you're totally right. I think Carlos is saying Tanner Scott, 93. I'm not sure if that means his 93-mile fastball, which could be a big concern sometimes. But it's all about location, guys. What I've learned about this game of baseball, it doesn't matter how fast you throw it. It all matters where you locate and pitch that ball for these hitters not to hit. It's crazy out there, man. Carlos is saying Rockies have an exciting team. They really do, man. Hunter Goodman is one of those guys. Ezekiel Tovar. Mickey Moniak's been a spark for this team.
Yeah.
He's
former Angel.
Former Angel, former Philly, who could have possibly been using this guy right now. But they continue to show great signs. So every team has potential, right? But this Dodgers team right now is just way too stacked. I feel like the Dodgers are just on cruise control. They could miss a piece for 3 months. It's fine. Take the time you need. Just be back later and, hope nothing worse happens. But oh, man, I think Carlos Tanner Scott has an ERA of .93. There it is, guys.
Okay.
If you guys know me, Tanner Scott's not a bad pitcher. Yes, he had a really bad year last year for the Dodgers. I think it was a hard adjustment for him. He couldn't get used to playing in the LA weather, LA crowd. He comes from San Diego Padres team. That tension, the Padres fans were giving him crap about going to the crosstown rival. It's not easy. It gets in your head, and when you're trying to close games for a top Dodger team, and the fans are not going to let you live with you blowing up saves. So to everyone listening, what do you guys think? Tanner Scott should be the new closer? I think I should put that in a poll, man. I think we have that access these days. Let me see if I could figure that out real quick, but let's ask the fans. Tanner Scott. Sorry, I should have probably done this earlier, man. Let's see what we got from the people listening. I'm trying to figure out.
I've
Sorry,
got a
guys. I'm not.
question for you while they're going with that.
Yeah, go for it, man.
So what do we think, like, as far as what do they do with Robleski? That's so like that's a it's like I think he's more of like an eating the innings type of player than he would be,
for sure.
as a closer.
And he's a long reliever. For me personally, he's only there to eat up innings or be that opener that you need here and there. We got two of the comments there. Sorry, guys. I was having a little bit of technical difficulties putting it up. Carlos may have to show me how to do that. He said, nope, we got Osball, second chat. 2, nope. Looks like you guys don't want Tanner Scott closing. Well, I could propose another guy for you. What about Roki Sasaki? The guy looked great last year in the offseason. And he could come into the bullpen and, finally get some respect from his teammates and finally, get that confidence he really needs closing out some top close games and high pressure moments. And it's only going to help the kid grow even better. So I think that's an option there. What do you think about that one, Roki Sasaki?
I did hear a report about, I believe it was last week, and I believe Dave Roberts was like, "No, we are not going that direction." Now, was he just kind of heat of the moment, just trying to get the media off his back, trying to say that? I don't know, but it sounds like it sounds like the right thing to do with this kid. I mean, every time he's out there, you're just feeling for the guy because he's put so much pressure on himself start after start, and it's just getting shelled for most of the starts here. So you wonder if going to the bullpen would do him good full time. But yeah, he did downplay it.
We have seen a lot of guys go from starters to closers, and they become one of the dominant forces in this game. You want to mention Mason Miller?
Mason Miller, I'm
not sure if people know that, but he was a starter. He's one of those guys that dominated. And there's a lot of other couple guys out there in the past that have been prime examples of that, being starters, but they become closers because they're so dominant. But yeah, let's go to the next topic. Another Dodger topic, man. Manager of the Chicago Cubs named Craig Counsell was not too happy in an interview given the fact that the Dodgers have an extra player added to the roster for a pitcher. And his name is Shohei Ohtani, a unicorn, a guy that could bat and pitch. What are your thoughts on Craig Counsell with that? Threw me off guard, and he never complained when he was with the Angels, but this is a new one for me. What are your thoughts on Craig Counsell's comments?
Yeah, I mean, I did think a lot of this was due to his own frustrations with how his season's gone with his starting pitchers. And, it's kind of like, when you're kind of going through the hard times, it's like, oh, yeah, look at that guy over there kind of deal. And, the thing to point out, I believe, here is that, this rule was implemented, the Ohtani rule was implemented in 2022 while he was still with the Angels. And you didn't really hear a whole lot going on until he put on that Dodger blue. And it's like once he puts on the Dodger blue, all of a sudden we've got a lot of issues here. But there's just thinking about some of this today, I don't know if Major League Baseball wants to do something where it's like, I'm not saying we need to go back to, NL has the pitcher's bat and the AL has the designated hitter only, but kind of something similar like Michael Lorenzen. There's reports that, he wants to hit. Nolan McLean did both at some point. You got a lot of these guys coming up. Jack Caglione, another one that's hitting, did some pitching, I believe in high school and then a little bit in the minor leagues as well. So you got some of these like unicorn type players coming up. So it's like, it's not like it's just Shohei Ohtani out there. I don't see anything really concerning with the rule. I just think, I believe Craig Counsell's thinking like about his own situation right now, and the frustration may be building on that as far as, hey, I don't have enough bodies out here. I'm relying on Colin Rea, who pitched a great game the other day. And
it's weird.
And
yeah, I mean, you feel for the Cubs, dude. I mean, their injuries just keep piling up. They're depending on guys like Colin Rea, Javier Assad, Jameson Tylone. they finally got Matthew Boyd today, where it's like, finally, right? But you losing Kane Horton to the season was a huge blow. Justin Steele hasn't been back ever since. The names just keep piling up. Shota Imanaga is just not who he once was, like in his first season. And you're seeing a Craig Counsell who's feeling disappointed and desperate for some pitchers. And he's like, I wish I had a Shohei, and I wish I could be able to use this rule to have an extra pitcher. But that's part of the game, unfortunately. And you have the potential of finding the next Shohei. And that's what Dave Roberts said in an interview. He's like, hey, man, we're just lucky enough to have him on our roster. But anybody could do the same thing if you find a player out there that has the capabilities to do both things, as hit and bat and pitch. But, man, I don't know. And even Tony Vitello, the Giants manager, was defending Dave Roberts in this one. Just telling you, hey, man, I think Craig Counsell just went a little bit overboard right now with this one. It was kind of shocking. I think he needs to just focus on winning the division, focus on his matchups. Shouldn't be worrying about another team that's in another division. I just personally think that as much as everybody hates the Dodgers, you just got to start focusing on your team and worry about the Dodgers once you meet them in the playoffs, personally.
But that being said, we are talking rivalries here, right? So could this plant the seeds for a National League rivalry? We got Craig Counsell going there. And just Michael Busch involved in the trade. He goes from LA to Chicago. You kind of got some seeds planted there, and you got the talent on both teams. Now, of course, the pitching side of things is where Chicago loses out, unfortunately, but or at least right now. But you have some talent on both teams, or it could get really spicy.
Can I remind everyone, Craig Counsell played for the Arizona Diamondbacks in his playing days. So he didn't like the Dodgers whatsoever. He hates them with a passion. So it's one of those, man. Craig Counsell, I mean, there's a lot of things he's done that I'm kind of like, man, he's a little shady. They leave his Milwaukee Brewers as well to go for the bigger dough. And now he's hurting, now getting his pitchers. And then you see the Brewers still beating up on the Cubs.
Brewers are still doing it.
And then now he hates on the Dodgers. I don't know, man. This is one of those cases where I'm like, Craig Counsell, you just got to chill.
And that proves what I'm trying to say even more. Because look at a team like the Brewers. They are out there, and they've got their Kyle Harrisons. This guy was struggling, with San Francisco, with Boston. He just didn't do much of anything with the Red Sox. And then he comes to Milwaukee and look at him putting up some respectable outings. Chad Patrick, these guys are just dogs, and they're going out there and they're just getting it done. I'm trying to think if there was somebody else out there that just went to the Brewers, and you're like, and they kind of were shaky elsewhere. I'm trying to think of who it is. The name escapes me for the moment, but that Brewers, the pitching staff, man, they don't get enough credit for what they're able to do.
I'm always impressed. Every time I think, man, the Brewers are going to have a down year. They did not do anything in the offseason. Somehow they're still winning that division. You don't know how. Carlos, you bring up a great point here.
Yes.
This is one of the main reasons why these tensions have been rising even more. Cal Tucker left Chicago to go to the Dodgers. I mean, Chicago didn't even bother to make a good deal on Cal Tucker. They had every opportunity. You traded for the guy. You gave up one of your top prospects for Cal Tucker. And then when it comes time to pay the guy, you let him walk away to one of the biggest rivals, not the rivals, one of the top dollar teams, Dodgers, and somehow they secure the next superstar again after winning back-to-back championships. I think this is one of the main reasons why Craig Counsell hates or doesn't like the Dodgers.
Yes. Yeah, how could we forget Kyle Tucker and all this? Yeah, thank you, Carlos, for that little assist there. For sure, because that brings up the most important wrinkle of this whole thing, right? So I think
man.
I think a lot of that is what's talking right now for Craig Counsell.
Definitely. Well, I just want to bring up a next topic today. We did not have this one ready, but we're just gonna go for it. It's one of the hottest topics in baseball. Mets or Phillies, Jamal? Let us know. The Mets finally snapped that losing streak today. But the Phillies, 8-game losing streak going on right now. They just went ahead and lost to the Cubs again.
Yes. Was that the final 6-2?
That is right, 6-2. So the Cubs get another dub. And you have a Philly team that's now sitting at 8-16, if I'm not mistaken. They're down bad. And a couple years ago, I was talking about how this Phillies team and how their window was finally closing, and how last couple seasons were their time to win. Dave Dombrowski, what he does, he signs their manager to an extension, which I didn't understand. And now you have a team that is struggling. So I have the question for you: Mets or Phillies? Which team will bounce back in a couple of days and finally start winning some games?
But yeah, you would think. Well, so the Phillies actually have some positive news on the way because it sounds like Zach Wheeler is going to be coming back to the rotation. But even that, you got to think he's going to need some time to really get back into being Zach Wheeler. The good news for them, Kyle Schwarber is still hitting. He's still hitting home runs. I think he's got 8 heading into today. So he's still there. And it sounds like, all in all, some of the losses, it's just coming down to execution. And whereas with the Mets, it just seems kind of odd. There was an odd quote from Juan Soto today saying, "Oh, I didn't even talk to the team during the 12-game win streak or losing." They wish it was a win streak. It was a losing streak there, and he said he didn't even talk to the team during the road trip. So it's like, what? How can that be? It's like you're one of the main guys, if not the main guy on that team, and to not have communication with your teammates, it was just mind-boggling to me.
You're totally right, man. You bring up a good point there about Juan Soto, and that shows his leadership style. Not one that I'm a big fan of, and that's why I think he couldn't win in San Diego as well. There was a lot of high egos in that team, and I feel like with the Mets is another one there. So I don't know, man. This Mets team, I feel like they're going to win more games, and I don't think they will finish last. They probably won't even make the playoffs because I think they're too deep in a hole already, to be honest. And somehow that bullpen is very shaky. You got Luke Weaver, and then you got Devin Williams, who come from the Yankees, who had a lot of pressure last year being in the crosstown rival. They come to a smaller team, right? But the media is still eating them up. It's still New York. And that pressure to close out those games, it's, big thing. And then losing out on Edwin Diaz, not bringing them back, it's another blow to their teams. But given the fact that they have way more star power, they got a better starting rotation than the Phillies for me right now. I mean, Nolan McLean has been one of the bright spots for them right now. It just feels like the bullpen can't close out the games for them. And then you got Freddie Peralta, who's also a very dominant pitcher. Kodai Senga finally get his stuff going again, and I think they'll bounce back with that. So I feel like the Mets starting rotation is better, and is the reason why I think they'll do much better going forward. But this Phillies team, they're aging quicker than I expected, man. JT Realmuto just seems like he's on his way out. Another injury to him. Bryce Harper's been really quiet this year. It feels like it's something wrong with him, or was that WBC paid a toll on his body? Then you got guys like Brandon Marsh, Alec Bohm, Bryson Stott, MIA, man. These guys can't buy a hit. And I'm really concerned about that. I mean, this is a team that was supposed to be better, right? And they do have young arms like Andrew Painter and Christopher Sanchez. Zach Wheeler's on his way. Will that be enough, though? And if you ask both fan bases, they're not too happy with their team. They're already ready to cancel the season.
Yeah, it's and you thought with you brought up Harper, you thought he was going to come out guns blazing after the off season, where he had where Dombrowski was saying, whatever it was he was saying, and Bryce Harper was going to use that as motivation for the year, and it's still early. I think Bryce Harper will bounce back nicely and have a pretty awesome season. But yeah, this is not where you want to be with this Phillies team. How long have we been waiting on Bryson Stott? This guy, we were expecting him at some point to break out and be, I don't want to say a superstar, but somewhere close to that. Somebody that would help out. And then you keep an aging JT Realmuto. He, as great as he's been, that was something that I questioned why they did not upgrade that. You thought that he was going to be shipped out or something during the off season, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah, you're totally right. I mean, look at how they struggle even to get rid of Nick Castellanos. There were some other key pieces. You're right. They could have moved on out of. I think they just need to get younger, and they made a lot of trades. They let go of a lot of their prospects to make these deep moves on the playoffs, and look how it's working out for them now. Let's go on to the last topic of our show today. We have a special segment. Jamal every Wednesday brings out the hottest prospects. We call it Prospect Wednesday. Give us a prospect out there that, man, we should probably be looking out for. I know there's always names coming out from the minors. Who's one guy right now that we should take a look at and keep an eye on?
Yeah, well, I actually have 3 of them here, and
Okay.
one of them is about a team we just talked about. It was the Boston Red Sox. They might be getting a shot in the arm here. Sonny Gray, of course, going on the IL with an injury, so the time could be now. It was first reported that Peyton Tolley, who's at AAA Worcester right now, he's got a 2-0 record, a 3 ERA with a 1.07 WHIP. 15 innings pitched, only 4 walks, and 19 strikeouts. So this guy is he is their top pitching prospect right now. It was first reported that he would make his debut with the Red Sox. Remember, he pitched a little bit for him last season, had a great first start, and then kind of got beat up, banged around a little bit there. But hopefully his debut here in 2026 goes well. It was initially reported Saturday that he was going to go against the Orioles. Now I'm hearing reports that he may be the guy starting against the Yankees tomorrow in Fenway. So it's not etched in stone, but there were some reports coming out that they've pushed Garrett Crochet's next start back. So that kind of raises more speculation that Peyton Tolley could be on his way.
Right, that's a good one, man. I'm excited to see how he does on his first start for the 2026 Red Sox. They desperately need a better pitcher out there and a young kid that could take over, man. He has some promising stuff, so I'm excited to see how he turns out this year. I'll let you go on to the next one. Sorry about that, Jamal.
No, you're all good. And then we have an exciting hitter out of the White Sox minor leagues right now, out of AA Birmingham. Shout out to Michael Jordan. So batting 600 last week. He was the SOU Player of the Week, batting 612 of 20, 1 home run, 5 doubles, 2 triples, and 7 RBIs. This guy and he also had 4 walks and a stolen base to go with it. And that's Braden Montgomery from the White Sox minor league there, AA Birmingham. So he hasn't even hit AAA yet. And this guy is just raking. And so it may be a little bit before he gets called up to the big show, but it may happen faster than we think if he keeps this up.
Yeah, I think he was part of one of those big trades, right? That the White Sox got for one of their pitchers they let go.
Yes.
Was he part of the Crochet trade?
I believe he was part of that Crochet deal. Yes, you're absolutely right.
That name sounds so familiar, but look at those stats, man. He already looks like a true beast. Definitely will have to keep an eye on him. I mean, when he got traded for Garrett Crochet, he was definitely one of those big names that we're looking for. So it looks like he's living up to his expectations. And that White Sox team, if you guys have not watched them, they have some promising players. Starting off with Munetaka Murakami, who is demolishing baseballs out there. I can't believe the scouts or the other GMs were not trying to sign this guy, claiming the fact that he cannot hit a baseball. I don't know what these guys are doing. Sometimes these guys scout a little too hard for me, and they miss out the main thing. Does this guy have heart? Does he really want to play ball? And I feel Murakami is that type of guy. Do they not know what these Japanese stars are like, man?
I know, right? What's going on here?
For a living out there.
That's absolutely right.
Talking about that, they got Counsell Montgomery. They got a lot of great pieces out there, and it's exciting to see them grow up and finally develop into some great players out there. But I'll let you head up the last player, man. Who is that last prospect that we should be looking out for, Jamal?
Yeah, the last guy I have on the list is actually, there's a short, Real Talk short on YouTube. Go check it out. But that's Ryan Waldschmidt playing at AAA Reno, which he is the D-backs. The Diamondbacks are expected at some point to call this kid up. And he's got an on-base percentage of .455. And over his last 11 games, he's batting .439 with 2 home runs, 2 triples, and 2 doubles as well. And the question right now for the Diamondbacks is, how long can they go with Alec Thomas, at the outfield there? He's struggling on both ends of the field, it seems, right now. He's not hitting. So how long do they go before they call Waldschmidt up? So out of the two of these, Montgomery and Waldschmidt, I would expect to see Waldschmidt sooner called up to the big show. But yeah, 3 names to keep an eye on there.
Wow. That's exciting, man. I'm always excited to hear about new players and see how they develop into all-stars, man. It's really nice to see them, especially with their first game when all their families there supporting them. They watched their whole journey as kids to finally get that first base hit and seeing their family cheering, the excitement. Man, it's one of the best times in baseball, especially we see that. We used to see that back then in September, but it feels like it happens way too early now, and which is even better, right? We only get to hear about more players sooner, and especially with social media. Man, you get to see highlights at an earlier time than you were like, man, I was watching that guy back in the day when he was with the Reno team. And you're like, what? How? But, man, that's a great prospects. Thank you, Jamal, for bringing those 3 guys that we should be tuning into. This is our final part of our show. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And make sure to hit that like and subscribe. We truly appreciate it, me and Jamal. We should be back on Sunday night talking ball, giving you a whole breakdown of everything that happened. But, Jamal, I have one last question for you. And since you're one of the newest members of our Real Talk Baseball show, I want people to get to know you a little bit. What is your favorite baseball movie of all time? Can you let the listeners know? Because, I mean, we, me and Carlos have discussed this, but we're kind of curious to see what movie is your favorite.
Yeah, so this is actually very interesting because I just watched this movie with my kids, my 3 of my 4 kids, a couple weeks back. And
nice.
it's got to be The Sandlot. I just love that movie with
okay, can't go wrong with that.
The whole story there. Yeah, you're killing me, Smalls, and all that. Nice. All the craziness there.
All right, every time people say The Sandlot, I ask them, have you ever seen The Sandlot 2, though?
I have not. No, I have not seen that one yet. I might.
It's a pretty old movie, but yeah, most people have never even heard about that was a part 2, but it was definitely not the same. It never hits the same, with the part 2.
Yeah.
I hope you know the story, but I'm actually an Angels fan because when I was 5 years old, my favorite movie was Angels in the Outfield.
Oh, yes.
One of the main reasons, I mean, especially growing up in a family full of Dodger fans and a community filled with Dodger blue, I was an odd man out, man. VHS, Disney movie, Angels in the Outfield was being played in the background every single day, and that's where my love for the game started. And at 5 years old, I mean, when you see the team winning in miracles like that and watching Angels in the field, that's something special to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a classic. Danny Glover, Tony Danza.
You can't go wrong. They have some great actors in that film as well. Well, I just want to thank everybody. Yes, Carlos, I still have that movie in VHS. If anybody can find a VHS player that works for me to finally play it, it's still in my dad's house. I don't know what to do with it, man. I think I'm just going to hold it because it means so much to me. But yes, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Jamal, any last mentions for everyone?
Yeah, really quick. Just a quick bit of news. I don't know if everybody saw, but Lucas Giolito just signed a 1-year deal to join the Padres rotation. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens there.
These Padres are just signing everyone that can't find a team. We'll take him. We'll see what he has. They'll take the risk, it never hurts, especially when you're paying them a minimum deal. Well, I just want to thank everybody. Thank you, Jamal, for stopping by and joining the show as well and being part of this. We really appreciate it. It not only helps our team grow and bring more content on a weekly basis for you guys and our listeners. For all of us here at Real Talk Baseball, thank you. And we'll catch you on Sunday. Thank you, guys. Have a good one. See you soon.